Hello, my name is Andy and I am the village idiot and a man with a car and a GoPro and an unhealthy amount of time on my hands. Welcome back to West Lindsey on a very cold morning, and I'm actually beginning this one in a small village which is not the main village in this parish. I'm stood outside a pub, that is the Riverside Inn, and over there is the bank of a river. And we're about to start this video over there on the bank of that river. And interestingly, you might just be able to see above that white car there a sign facing the other way. That is something completely not connected to the water you're about to see, which is very interesting. It's actually to do with a railway. And this little village is called Southrey, or Southrey, whichever one you want to go with, and it belongs to the parish of Bardney. Bardney is West Lindsey's most southeasterly parish, and as well as the main village which we'll work our way towards, it also includes the delightful Southrey, which is where we begin. Southrey is approximately 2 miles southeast from Bardney and lies on the northern bank of the River Witham. On this bank of the Witham is something we've become accustomed to seeing all over the place, an old railway line, and here we can get a good look at the former Southrey station. Southrey railway station opened in 1848 as part of the then new 58-mile Lincolnshire loop line from Peterborough to Lincoln via Spalding and Boston. This line was authorised as part of the London and York Railway Bill, which received royal assent on the 26th of June 1846. The Great Northern Railway began construction of the loop line in 1847, and Southrey station would eventually close in 1970. The old track bed is now known as the Water Railway, and this is not the first time we'll see this. It's a cycle route, forming part of the Sustrans National Route 1. So, ladies and gents, this is the southernmost point of West Lindsey district. Over the river there, you're looking at a completely different district. That is North Kesteven over the River Witham. And isn't it great? I'm once again stood on a piece of railway history. Amazing. I'm good at finding these old stations. Now, there's plenty more to Southrey than just this station and the Water Railway. Obviously, there's the pub, which we're about to go and pass. And then, of course, there's a village here too, with a nice little church and plenty of pretty little houses. Let's go and investigate that before we head into Bardney. The pub here is the Riverside Inn, a beautiful British pub in the heart of rural Lincolnshire. Southrey is listed in the 1086 Domesday Book as Southrey, comprising 11 households, and it's grown quite a bit since then. The village has a little church which is easily the loveliest one I think the channel has ever seen. This is dedicated to St John the Divine and was built in 1898. This is far from being a typical English country church. In fact, it's more like something that's been transported from New England. It certainly has an American feel to it. Inside, it's just as pretty as it is on the outside. I know I'm biased because I'm from Lincolnshire, but you can't deny this is downright beautiful. On the walls, there's some information. It was only ever built as a temporary church, and it rests on a concrete plinth incorporating stones from the ruins of the nearby Bardney Abbey. Maintenance has recently included redecorating in white and sky blue, along with recarpeting. Masks are still in fashion, so says Boris. Okay, in this church, there's a plethora of good information on this wall. And up above, you can see a lovely stained glass window with some soldiers on it. And here we have some information about those windows. I'm going to take some photos of that and show you those in the picture bit, because it would be a bit daft of me to try and film them like this for you to read them with the GoPro footage. You'll see these in the picture bit, guys. Southrey may be part of Bardney Parish, but even the Bardney locals recognise that it's nothing like it. This is shown by a poem on the side of the village hall in which one Bardney local describes Southrey as a distant foreign land. Southrey also has a wood, which we'll see shortly after a drive around, and it's where you'll find the Southrey Wood Butterfly Reserve. Right, last thing for you in Southrey is Southrey Wood, one of the woods that's part of the Bardney Limewoods National Nature Reserve, which we mentioned last week in the Stainfield episode. There's even a nice little information board about it here. Seems to be one of the bigger woods that belong to it. There it is, we're there, look. And Southrey is down here. And you can take a nice little walk around it by the looks of it. We're not going to do that though. We are going to move on to Bardney. I get the feeling that Southrey, if it had been its own civil parish, which it's not unfortunately, it would have had its own episode of course, and I would have been able to do a lot more with it because it's such a beautiful little village. But as it is, it belongs to Bardney, and that means that we've got to leave it behind now and go to the main village in this one. So let's head to Bardney and see what we can find there. Now we're in Bardney, and this really does feel like a million miles away from Southrey. The population of the parish as a whole, including Southrey, was 1,643 at the 2001 census, and it increased to 1,848 by the 2011 census. Bardney lies between 7 and 17 metres above sea level, on the edge of the present-day Lincolnshire Fens. Like Southrey, it also sits on the eastern bank of the River Witham, and is 9 miles east of the city and county town of Lincoln. Everywhere you look here, there's something that has a story or something of great interest. Take this industrial estate, for instance, the site of an old school. There's a lot to talk about here, so let's get the formalities out of the way. Bardney's average house price is £193,000. The parish covers 21.92 square kilometres, and it's 97.9% white British. Its population density is 105.2. The place name is Old English in origin and means island of a man called Bearda. It occurs in the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle under the year 716 as Bearddanig, and in the Domesday Book as Bardenai. As alluded to last week in Stainfield, Bardney's several parishes become part of a group that consists of Bardney, Apley and Stainfield. Southrey and Kingthorpe are also included, the latter being a part of Apley Parish. It was once the site of a medieval abbey, ruined in Henry VIII's dissolution of the monasteries, and agricultural improvement made Bardney village prosperous in the 19th century. Improved transport, first on the river and then with the arrival of several railways, caused considerable expansion between the traditional centre of the village and the former riverside settlement of Bardney Ferry, a part of the village we'll see a lot of in the interesting features section. Bardney's history goes back even further. 2 Roman artefacts are known to have been found in Bardney, these being a gemstone and a coin. Nearby villages show evidence of Roman settlements, particularly Potterhanworth Booths and Branston Booths, which are over the border into North Kesteven. Community-wise, Bardney Gala is held every year on August Bank Holiday Sunday, and it's a traditional village event. The site of Bardney Abbey is accessible to the public, but as I explain here, there wasn't any point in going to it. Now, after we finish the main walk around Bardney, I'll be taking the car up this dead-end road, and this is Abbey Road. No, don't worry, I'm not about to turn into the Beatles and start walking across a pedestrian crossing. It's a dead end and it leads to Bardney Abbey. Now, I believe that Bardney Abbey no longer stands, there's no ruins of it left, and what we have there now is just a bunch of earthworks. So whether or not you'll be able to see anything, I don't really know. But there is something else up there that's quite interesting too, so it's still worth going up Abbey Road. The abbey was founded before 679, perhaps as a double house of monks and nuns, and perhaps as a minster. It was destroyed by the Danes in around 860. One of Bardney's little quirks comes in the form of a saying, "Do you come from Bardney?" which one would ask you if you leave a door open. This is a long story, so here's some more shots from around the village to enjoy as I explain it. The story behind it goes that when the bones of St Oswald were brought to the abbey, the monks initially refused to accept it because the abbey was in the kingdom of Lindsey, and Oswald, when king of Northumbria, had once conquered them. As a result, the relics were locked outside, but during the night a beam of light appeared and shone from his bier, reaching up into the heavens. The monks declared it was a miracle and accepted the body, hanging the king's purple and gold banner over the tomb. They are also said to have removed the great doors to the abbey so that such a mistake could not occur again, and thus the saying was born. The abbey, of course, is no longer there, and as for Oswald in 909, in response to increased Viking raids, his bones were translated to the new St Oswald's Priory in Gloucester. Here's something even the Bardney locals might not know. The village has not just 1 but 2 lost villages close to it. The deserted medieval village of Butchiate was demolished in 1959 and converted to farmland. There's also another seemingly unnamed and abandoned village associated with the former chapels of St Lawrence and St Andrew to the north of the village. As a large village, Bardney has a lot of things to keep this community served. One of those things is a surgery, which incidentally is located at the entrance to one of the village's newest housing estates. Off Horncastle Road, there's a playground which backs onto the huge recreation ground and is right next door to the cemetery. The recreation ground is the location for the annual Bardney Gala every year. It has plenty of football pitches, and in 2014 it gained a skate park too. So this is the playing field behind the village hall. Now I would have liked to have filmed a little bit more of this, but there's a kids football training session going on there at the moment, so I don't really want to be filming too much with kids around. Okay, here's the village hall. The village hall is right next to the recreation ground and is located on Silver Street. Much like many others we've seen, it's a vibrant centre for local events. The modern primary school, Bardney Church of England and Methodist Primary School, was opened in 1983. It replaced 2 earlier schools that merged in 1964. Next to the school is Bardney Gateway Centre, which runs a youth club every Wednesday from 7 PM until 9:30 PM. It's also where the parish notice board was seen earlier in the video. A little bit of nostalgia for me here, and that's this barber shop you can see on this corner. That's because that is where both me and my father used to get our hair cut. But alas, the guy who ran the place when we went there for it, he's now retired. I don't know who owns it now. It's still a barber shop though, which is good to see, but obviously it's not being used as such by Barry. Bardney has a fair selection of shops, but the main one is this co-op supermarket. There's also a fair selection of pubs. The Black Horse is steeped in history and was formerly a farmhouse. It has 5 rooms which can accommodate up to 14 people, and it offers bed and breakfast. Literally just around the corner you'll find 2 more. These are the Old Angel and the Nag's Head. The Old Angel was originally known as The Angel and also as Bard's until 2014. At number 2 Station Road is the Butcher of Bardney. This is widely regarded in the area as one of, if not the best, butcher around, and there are glowing reviews of it all over the internet. Now here's something unique. This is the Lincolnshire gun shop, which was opened in 2018. Their background is primarily in clay shooting grounds. Bardney Clays is one of these, and it's less than 2 miles away from the shop. Along Station Road there's a pharmacy too. The chippy seen here at 117 Station Road used to be a pub. It was called the Jolly Sailor, and it was present by 1841. It changed its name to the Gypsy Queen in 1994, before closing in 2009. Time for the religious buildings within the village, and here we have St Francis's Roman Catholic Church on Station Road. Originally, from a distance, I thought this was some kind of community hall, or maybe a scout hut. Here's the Methodist Church on Church Lane. This was originally a lecture hall in 1903 and was taken over by the congregation when the original chapel had to be demolished. Not far from this is the Methodist Hall. The village has preschool facilities, including Bardney Mother and Toddler Group, who meet in this building. The Parish Church of St Lawrence is part of the Bardney group of the Deanery of Horncastle in the Diocese of Lincoln. St Lawrence is a large Grade 1 listed church, originally built around 1434. It has a brick chancel, which is constructed from the same bricks used to build nearby Tattershall Castle. Outside there's an information board about the wildlife in the churchyard, and inside it houses a wonderful display and exhibition of Bardney Abbey and its troubled history. Parts of the demolished abbey were used to build the church. St Lawrence contains many treasures, including interesting murals depicting saints, beautiful carved angels in the roof timbers, as well as a 14th century figure originally from the abbey. At the west end of the nave is an incised slab to Abbot Richard Horncastle. The cemetery now, and this is situated on the road out of Bardney, Horncastle Road, to the south. A public cemetery was first proposed in 1907, but it wasn't until 1909 that it formally opened. The first part of the cemetery was laid out on either side of the Lick Gate. One side of the Lick Gate was intended for Anglicans, whilst the other was for Methodists. The Lick Gate cost £93, 15 shillings and 2 pence. It consisted of 2 rooms and a gateway under a pitched roof. The tool shed, otherwise known as the sexton's store, was on the Anglicans' side. Now, we will be seeing some old abandoned buildings in this section, but this one just off Ragby Road was arguably the most intriguing. What is it? Maybe an old village hall or community centre maybe? The name of the Water Railway, incidentally, refers to the river, the railway, and a wetland bird found in the area called the water rail. Okay, I just noticed this sign, which is fairly important. So we've been talking a bit about Bardenai Limewoods. Now, if you go along Ragby Road, this sign is slightly wrong because it's pointing this way, and it shouldn't be. It should be pointing down there, trust me. It's Chambers Farm Wood. That's another one of the Bardenai Limewoods, and that one's important because that has a visitor centre. I'm not going to be going to that one because it's quite a long way out of the way. You will see that in today's picture bit though. I will cover Chambers Farm Wood in today's picture bit. One of Bardney's most recognisable former shops is this one on Station Road. It used to belong to W. Smithson & Sons and was a cake and flour dealer. In 1931, close to the river, a large factory was built. In March 1932, it was purchased by John Morrell & Co. and thus became known as Morrell's Canning Factory. This whole area of Bardney was known as Bardney Ferry because at one time to cross the river you had to take one. In 1893 the ferry was replaced by the present bridge over the river. So in typical Lincolnshire fashion, this bridge is quite narrow and it's traffic lighted. You can only go one way at a time along this. Traffic lights at either end. Now we're over the Witham again, and in the very far distance over there, you won't be able to see it, there's a lock, but it's not within Bardney Parish, which is strange because it's called Bardney Lock. It actually falls within a different district as well, because it's in North Kesteven. It belongs to Branston, but considering that it is Bardney Lock, I will put it in today's picture bit, and it's over there. You can access it via a footpath which runs alongside the river on that side, and this is the parish boundary. Now let's go back into Bardney, although we're not going too far, because I think this area here of Bardney is the most interesting of all, because it's got so many things, including that building over there. Now then, I wonder how many of you know what that is, because I certainly do. Here you'll come across a Ryvita factory. If you're unfamiliar with Ryvita, they're a type of rye-based crisp bread, originally manufactured by the company of the same name. I should just say that other crisp breads are available. The building dates from 1927, and it's formerly a British sugar factory. Plans to build a sugar beet factory in Bardney began in 1925, and the land for the factory site was purchased in 1926. The Bardney factory would develop over time and began to produce golden syrup and black treacle in 1980, and other flavours of syrups were produced starting in 1989. In 1870, like Southrey, Bardney had a station, which was a junction for the branch line to Louth via Rugby and the Lincolnshire Loop line. The station building survives and is a listed building. It's now Bardney Heritage Centre, which aims to preserve the history for the future of the village and the surrounding area. A reasonably sized tea room exists here and serves hot and cold food throughout the day, and you can even spend the night at the former station. So this area to the west of Bardney has certainly got a lot of things to look at, and as if everything I've shown you already wasn't enough, that white house that's next to the chip shop you can see there, that's an old bakehouse, believe it or not. So yeah, this end of Bardney has got quite a lot. Resting on a plinth of Norwegian stone is a propeller which commemorates the servicemen who flew Lancaster bombers from RAF Bardney between 1943 and 1945. It's just one of the things you can read about if you take a look at the village sign and its small information board just a few paces away. And this building is the former Salvation Army Chapel of 1882. There was also a primitive Methodist chapel in Bardney on Rugby Road, which is now in residential use. Proof positive that the Bardney/Southrey locals are very proud of their area. Just been speaking to a lady outside the post office who was very excited by the prospect of seeing this video coming out in January. It's December as I film this, so Christmas in the way first, but I'm sure a little wait. I'm sure this is worth the wait for her and everybody else who's watching this. So now we're done with Bardney. Now we're done with the main village, although I still have yet to go up Abbey Road. And as I said earlier, the Abbey is apparently just earthworks now, so that's a bit of a shame that we can't actually see anything there. But there is something else up Abbey Road, and that is what I'm going to right now. Right, so the site of the Abbey I've just actually seen because I drove up here not knowing that this was a private road, so I do apologise to anyone who saw me. But the site of the Abbey is behind these houses here, and that's Abbey Farm, and it is indeed just earthwork, so it isn't really worth showing you it. Although I will put it in the picture bit if, you know, people do like that kind of thing. The other thing I've come up here for is this. Now, that is a water tower. Let's see what I can tell you about this. This water tower to the northwest of Bardney is of 2 stories and roughly 38 feet high, with an 8-foot iron tank on top. The tank has a curved cover, raising the height a further 3.5 feet, making the total height approximately 49.5 feet. It was built in around 1903 and was fed from nearby boreholes. These boreholes supplied the village's water until 1938, when a new piped water main supply from Welton was installed. Right, we are nearly done now with Bardney. It's a big one, this, isn't it? I've got one more place to go, But to get to that, I will put the camera on the dashboard and drive to it and show you some other parts of Bardney that I haven't actually covered, including Abbey Road and Ragby Road out towards this last site where we're going. So here we go. So I think after all that, you deserve a picture bit. Here it comes right now. So to finish with, we're at Bardney Airfield. Now I can't access the airfield fully because obviously it's still very much private land, but I am on a public road here, so there's nothing wrong with just panning the camera around to show you the site of Bardney Airfield. Now I think it's predominantly agriculturally used now. There are some tractors and things over there, so that probably tells you more than you need to know. There's plenty of bales of hay over there as well, typically Lincolnshire and a West Lindsey thing as well, to see that kind of thing around here. And the airfield is, you know, fair decent size. I'll put a map of the airfield in the shot right now, so you can see exactly what it looks like. So there you go. This is to the north of Bardney, and up here we've got more fields and farmland behind this hedge, and Bardney dairies as well, which is definitely an agricultural area, and that area leads me towards my next parish to the north. And that's it. That's Bardney complete, a very big one, the southernmost parish in West Lindsey, and I'm off to my next one. So this has been the parish of Bardney, and I've been Andy, otherwise known as the Village Idiot, and I'm out.